Good Saturday morning, and welcome to another exciting edition of Outdoors with Larry Ray on 790 The Bet. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, B&M Poles, and Ducks Unlimited. Now, here's your host, Larry Ray.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome to Outdoors with Larry Ray. Every Saturday morning, what we call the fastest 90 minutes in outdoor radio programming as we head into our 25th year on the air, and we've got some special guests on today's show. We've got some in-studio guests, some folks on the line. Looking forward to this show. It was one of my ones I was anxiously waiting to do because not only do we have our own LarryRay.com webmaster, Guy Trebo, is going to give us an update on what's going on the web, but we also have the outgoing Andrew David Tweed, or David Andrew Tweed. I can't remember which one it is. It's Carp or something or another, right? Andy Tweed is in the studio with the short timer himself.
Good morning.
Going out as a TWRA law enforcement officer. And then we're going to have two special guests in the studio, two outgoing commissioners for the Tennessee Fish and Wildlife Commission, not to be confused with the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency Commission, which I had trouble getting used to that, but Mr. Bill Cox. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
And Bill has a great FM voice. He and Frank Barton ought to get together, right, Andy? I mean,
I've got a radio face, too.
Well, I did not say that. That's why I'm here, you know. And Hank Wright, outgoing commissioner from my hometown of Germantown. Bill's from Collierville, but Hank will be here momentarily. We're going to spend about a whole 30 minutes with Bill and Hank and Andy. Talking about the TWRA, which we are happy to say is one of our three sponsors on Outdoors with Larry Ray, along with Ducks Unlimited and our good friends at B&M Poles. And if you'd like to be a sponsor not only of this show, Outdoors with Larry Ray, part of the Odyssey family of radio stations right here in Memphis, in Mariah Woods Boulevard, what do you want to say, office complex, we have the man himself, can tell you all about it because this is LarryRay.com, our award-winning website.
That's right. We have won awards.
We have won awards.
I've been very proud of that.
I have been very proud of you.
I tell you what, Larry, we have there's a website you can go to called the Wayback Machine.
The Wayback Machine.
Yes.
Okay.
And if it's an internet archive, so yeah. I'm able to go back and look at the very first year that we published this website.
Really?
And it was horrendous.
It was horrendous.
I did not know. I barely knew anything about building a website back then, but we've come a long way since then. We've been awarded several times.
And we've been doing this for 2 or 3 years.
I've been doing the site for 22 years.
22 years.
You're in your 25th year.
Yeah,
so,
and when you look at the site is ever-changing. We have so many things across the top. We have all the commission meetings. We have all the information, TWRA. What's across the top up there? We have
a lot of news stories. We have, of course, we always put the most recent shows on the air. We have you can learn all about Larry Ray's entire life.
Well, not all of it.
We have videos like when you were inducted into the Legends of the Hall of Fame.
That's right. Yeah.
We have the video of Bill Cox.
Surprising me. I
yes,
wished I'd have dressed better that day. But Mr. Cox didn't tell me that. We were just meeting out in the Collierville.
But, you know, this show has always been very, very good about promoting and just providing the information, getting it out on the air for all these organizations, TWRA, AGFC, MDWFP.
Because we go into Arkansas, we go into Mississippi. People in the Boot Hill, Missouri can listen to us on AM 790, but you can also go to the website and hear all the segments.
We have links from anything from fishing and hunting guides to all these organizations. And
we're going to have we've got our own poet laureate. If we're going to work out, Shelby's working on that with Charlie Covington.
Yeah.
He has another poem for us. We're the only radio show that has a poet laureate.
Yes, and he's done a number of them over the years, and I accidentally erased every one of them.
You accidentally erased all of them?
We're starting over. I swear to God. That's why.
Don't tell Charlie that. You're not listening this morning, Charlie.
I'm sure he's got another copy.
He does.
We're going to record him, and that'll be better.
We're going to record him. But right now we have also the information, news stories. When TWRA, as Mr. Cox will know, Lee Wilmot and all the good folks over there with Emily Buck and all of them at the information, Don King. As soon as those things come on, they go on my website and they go on Facebook. And we've got some new ones about the recent commission meeting and the fishing regulations that Bill and those guys were able to watch. But it's been fun.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else before I turn it over to?
Yeah, just one more thing. Damon Hollis is a TWRA officer. He just received a national award from the National Wild Turkey Federation. He won the Joe Kurtz Wildlife Manager of the Year.
And we're going to have him on the show, too.
Yes, we are.
Just like we had Brady Smith from the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission last week.
Yep.
And Brady, get this, Andy Tweed.
Yes,
this
sir.
guy has been a wildlife officer in Claiborne County, Arkansas for 2 years.
Okay.
2 years. 25 years old, and he just won the NWTF Wildlife Officer of the Year.
There you go. He's on point.
He's on point, isn't
Yeah.
he? That sounds like a bird dog song, something like that. But
Yeah.
anyway, Andy, we appreciate thank you, Guy, for doing that. Go to LarryRay.com, REA.com. And Andy, I know that, and Bill, you can voice for this, the importance of wildlife officers to the TWRA.
Well, Larry, it's wildlife officers are, of course, everybody knows that they will check you deer hunting, and they call them the rabbit police. But there's so much more that these wildlife officers do. It's hard to cover it all, but they are outreach education. They are rescue. They're the water rescues. In 2005, a group went with boats and the equipment to New Orleans and rescued people from Katrina flooding.
Yes, yeah.
They were, just to pick three, they were at Waverly when Waverly was flooded, rescuing people. They went to East Tennessee when Helene flooded, that devastating flood up there, rescuing people. And had they not gone up there, and I will say that our director, who is Jason Maxedon, who's probably the best operational director I've known, circled the wagons and got his group together before TEMA called.
Yeah.
And they were ready, and they went up there, and they saved people. They were people that would hang on to a tree that would have died if TWRA hadn't gotten there. They've got the equipment, the know-how, and the courage to do what they do, and they're more well equipped than the sheriff's department or the highway patrol, and they have to do the same thing.
They do.
They do drugs and meth and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that group of men and women are special.
And we're going to talk to Andy a little bit later about some things that have happened to him recently, and I know Andy is part of this. You're going out in late May, and it's going to be different.
Oh, it's going to be totally different. Totally different.
You're going to have more time to spend with Hutch.
Oh, you got it.
Who is now 10.
He is 10.
And Andy showed up at Rodney Ward's funeral earlier this past week with Hutch.
Oh, yeah.
And a chance to do this, but you've left a legacy, Andy Tweed. You have.
Well, good.
I mean, you've been part of the community, and Bill will recognize this. And I don't know when the book is coming out, but be sure and let me know, because I don't want to be in town when it comes out, because I'm afraid it might relate to some of me. I don't know, but the things like that happen, and we want you to know that it just happened that you were able to drop by here today and be with when Hank comes in here in a little while, and Bill. These guys are your boss, right?
They are. They are. And, a lot of people don't realize, here we are in West Tennessee, and we think basically ducks and deer and turkey and little crappie fish and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And, when Bill, you got on the commission in 2001, you probably didn't know a whole lot about bear management, and you didn't realize there was X number of endangered species of salamanders. And then let's mosey on to the Duck River and to the Tennessee River watershed.
Yeah.
That we have the most diverse and the most popular, or the highest population of mussels found anywhere else in the United States.
That's right.
And a lot of them are endangered. 136 different species. by the
Really?
way. Yes. So he's now thrown in from deer, ducks, and turkey into all this endangered stuff.
Yeah.
So, the commission does a whole heck of a lot more than you think they do.
That's true. Commercial
respond to-
fishing,
Yes.
sport fishing.
Yeah.
It's a wide range of activity Tennessee's pretty diverse from west, middle, and east.
It's closer to Washington, D.C. out of Bristol than it is to Memphis.
Totally different habitat.
Yeah.
It
used to be
my learning curve was pretty steep.
And the learning curve of that, if Bill's been a commissioner 3 times since 2001, you can imagine, Andy, from your perspective as a wildlife officer, during that time frame, we've had the silver carp.
Things have changed so much.
The manatee has swum up the river.
Yep, we've had manatees.
But we have had different things. Our turkey population, we've had floods. You the man in the boat. I mean, I was the good movie about the boys in the boat. I can think Andy in the boat because you've been out on that river, and we've had things happen on that river. And Bill will recognize this. Who's the first person they call a lot of times when something happens on the river?
Oh, yeah. We're the first ones that get the call.
Yeah, because you guys have the equipment, which they supply you, whether it's a John boat or, I don't know what else, but
we have big patrol boats that we have for the the pleasure crafts that we have to check during the summer times. But we've also got John boats and kayaks and canoes and all kinds of stuff, whatever we need.
I think you're gonna when we listen, when we get into when Hank gets in here, Hank Wright and Bill together, it's going to be a fun time to learn a little bit about these two guys, Andy Tweed, with that. But we're going to take our first break of the morning, and we'll come back with Hank and Bill, and Andy will be the interpreter in case they say something that I don't understand, which is very obvious. It'll probably be. So let's take a break. We'll be right back on Outdoors with Larry Ray.
Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, brought to you by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, B&M Poles, and Ducks Unlimited.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. And as we told you earlier, we have 2 outgoing commissioners from the Tennessee Fish and Wildlife Commission. That is correct, right? Okay, good. I'm still working on that. Bill Cox and Hank Wright. Of course, Andy Tweed, he's outgoing too. He's always been outgoing ever since I've known him for more than 30 years. Wildlife officer Andy Tweed, and he's been busy lately. And of course, I've got my webmaster in here, Guy Trebo. But we got a special guest on now. You guys, when I started in this business 50 years ago, whatever it might be, one of the first persons that ever reached out to me when I became outdoor editor at the Commercial Appeal. That's a newspaper, in case anybody's forgotten. But when I was Tommy Aiken, who went on to be a wildlife commissioner. He was chairman of the commission. When Tommy calls you and asks you a favor, what are you going to do? You're going to do it. And Tommy said, you need to talk to a young man. His family has a preserve. They call it the Preserves at the Darby Farms, Brothers Farm. And I said, well, yeah, I'd like to talk to him. So he said, you need to talk to Tandy Darby. So that's what we're going to do right now. When Tommy Aiken talks, I talk, okay? And I know Tandy, first of all, welcome to Outdoors with Larry Ray. And then tell our listeners how important is the Aiken family to your family.
Hey there, Mr. Larry.
Yes.
And just exactly like you said, he has been a staple with my family. Him and my dad were big buddies.
Yes.
They grew up together, and my dad, everybody called him Bubba. And,
what'd they call Tommy? What do you call Tommy today? Huh?
T-Bone.
T-Bone.
T-Bone. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
All
Yes, sir. And they were thick as thieves and hunted all the way through school. And Mr. Tommy, he had to go off to Vietnam.
Yes, he did.
And
Yeah.
my dad, they wouldn't let him go because he was colorblind. So they made the trip down there to Memphis. And I heard that story. I went and picked up T-Bone back in the fall, and I tell you, I heard a lot of old stories there that I hadn't heard in a long time. So your mutual friend is my mutual friend, and he's been special with the Darbys.
Well, of course, now we can go into a lot of things that Tandy and his brother Rusty and the family. You guys go back to the early 40s, 1940s with the farm. I've read so much about it. But when I got through reading about it, Tandy, and of course you folks, that name sounds familiar. You got a little duty for the state too. Tell our listeners what you do.
Well, my daytime job is I'm in the produce business.
Yeah.
I've been in the produce business since I was 15. worked my summers in Georgia. I got the opportunity to play a little college ball, and during the summers I got to go to Georgia. But also, it seems like there's not enough free time. But I'm also humbled. I do represent the District 76, which consists of Weakley, Carroll, and Henry counties there as a state rep.
Yes. Well, we appreciate your service for the state, Tandy, and I know that when I was reading about your family and everything, the word preserve jumped out at me, just came out of it at me, because you guys have come together and really put on something that folks need to know about. Tell them what you do out of Greenfield. You got a special place up there, don't you?
Well, I do. It's close to my heart, Mr. Larry. And me and my brother, we talked about it there for years. And we it was one of the things there that we grew up doing. Dad was Dad, I'm not even going to say was kind of tight. He was real tight. And
okay. Yeah.
He always had a couple of bird dogs and always supplied us with guns and shotgun shells. But that was one place there that I'm not an expert in anything, but I feel like I can hold my own. The days of in the old days of quail hunting.
Yeah.
And it's a lost art. They're going out and being able to kill 15, 20 quail on an afternoon. Wild quail. That's a thing of the past. And so me and my brother, we wanted to kill two birds with one stone. First thing we did, Mr. Larry, we was able to preserve the old house that me and him had so many memories in.
Yeah.
That my grandparents lived in, and we've added a few things. We can probably sleep 14 to 16 comfortably.
Yeah.
We've got a nice lodge there that we have some really good meals, and there's still those down home meals. My wife, she really enjoys it. She enjoys cooking. Rusty's wife, Elise, they enjoy entertaining, and it's worked out good. My dad always had a okra patch or a sweet potato patch for me and Rusty.
Yeah.
And so this is one of the things here. Hey, you'll see in a lot of the pictures there,
yes.
Rusty's two boys are in there cleaning quail, on a good day's hunt. So everybody gets a piece of it.
And you've opened this up, and you call it the preserve at the Darby Brothers Farm, and you're right out of Greenfield, I assume, then, Tandy. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right off Kimmery Store Road.
Okay, and that's where you gather a lot now. And to do this now, is this your second year or first year? How long have you been doing this?
Well, the first year, and T-Bone, go back to the story with T-Bone.
Tommy.
Tommy. I had a couple of my dad's good friends, and I told my brother, I said, hey, I want to invite them out there first.
Yeah.
Let them see what it is, and us kind of work some kinks out. This was 2 years ago.
Okay, 2 years.
And yes, sir. And Tommy Aiken, he had a gun that he was going to give his grandson.
Yeah.
Never been shot. Nice over and under gun. And he called his grandson and said, listen, I've got your gun. But he says, I can't he said, I think it'll add more value to the gun if I take it out there and shoot a few quail on my best friend's farm.
Okay.
And that's what he did. So after a few tears and a little blood on the fingers there from shooting a few quail, he got his wish. So it was a special day for all of us.
How big a place do you have now? How much land you got there? We're talking about.
Well, that's the thing. We've got probably about 250 acres.
Okay.
And I've been fortunate. I've had the chance to hunt at a lot of these quail preserves across the country.
Yeah.
And they want to put you out in 4 or 5, maybe 6 acres of cerisa.
Yeah.
And and you just kind of walk in a circle.
Yes, you do.
We wanted to do it a little bit different. And we've got the fence rows, and we've done the CRP where we've extended the fence rows.
Yeah.
And that way, when the birds do get up, it's actual hunting. We got a little deal there that we kind of perfected where we get a covey rise.
Yeah.
Especially that's neat for the kids that have never done it.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then, just like a bird, he's going to go to the thickest cover when he gets up.
Yes.
Well, he knows that he's going to keep going straight. So you're going to get a chance again at the singles. So it's worked out pretty good. And like I said, I've been fortunate enough to go across the country hunting.
Yeah.
Nobody seems to do that. They like hunting the big open fields.
Yes.
And and this is the way that we did it growing up, and it's something that we can continue today.
All right. Again, we're talking to Tandy Darby. the preserve at Darby Brothers Farm right out of Greenfield, Tennessee, and he just mentioned a lot of these things. And I wanted to get Tandy on because not only that, but not that you're going to make it feel like the old days, which we all love and think back on.
Yes, sir.
But at the same time, you're not going to rough it there, Tandy. Come on now. I mean,
no, sir. You're going to sleep comfortable.
Yeah.
And I think a big calling card is having my wife and my sister-in-law fix a hometown or those meals that that is. There's nothing catered about it.
No catered.
It's
Okay.
from scratch.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So
yes,
we're not eating on Subways. I don't mean anything about that. I like Subway, but I'm telling you, that kind of jumped out at me that the accommodations are reasonable. You've got all this. You've got the farmhouse too, which is pretty cool looking, folks. And then the prices are even $275 a person for a half day. That's 10 quail per gun. Dinner is provided. He just said that. I mean, so
yes, sir.
So this is a thing that folks need to know about, and I wanted to get Tandy on because he's so busy. If he's not watching his favorite college team, can we get that out of the way right now, Tandy? What's your favorite college team?
Well, they would shoot me. That's where I'm in Asheville, North Carolina right now, and I'm kind of licking my wounds. We got beat this morning by Vanderbilt, and the timing of it wasn't going to work out right. I told my wife on the way home, I said, listen, we're going to have to stop and grab a bite to eat because I can't talk to Mr. Larry and his viewers there, our listeners, when we're going through the gorge there. We won't have a good connection.
Well, we got a good connection, but you got the half-day hunt, you got the full-day hunt, you got the shooting range. Before we let you go, what do you think your grandfather and dad would think about this, Tandy?
Well, just like I said before, my old dad and both they grew up pretty rough, and
pretty rough, buddy. I mean,
yes,
they grew up in the rough times. So
yes, sir. And I really think if I'd have told him my idea, he would have definitely thrown a shoe. But after he gets out there. And we got a nice flight pen there. We try to scare the quail, the ones that we get, and we raise them from our own, Mr. Larry.
Oh, you do?
We raise
These
them
are
from
your
eggs.
own?
Yes,
okay,
sir.
All right.
We want to. So it's pretty neat for our guests to come there, see our breeder quail, see the eggs roll down the belt there.
Yes.
And then we incubate them, and then we raise them. And we've got a flight pen there.
I did not know that. I thought you brought those in from someplace else. So these are your own quail that you raise, then. Is that right?
Yeah, yes, sir. For the most part.
For the most part.
But this is a good problem to have. We've had this much. We've had that much attendance that we've had to offset. And I do have a guy that I've got that raises a few quail for me that I've had to bring in. So that's a good problem to have.
Well, tell our listeners how they get in touch with you then. Tandy, I don't, not just to complain about anything in the state representative, the 70 district.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Tell
sir.
them about how to get in touch about the preserve.
Yes, sir. They can reach me by my cell phone, 731-431-3272, or by email, which is tdarby@aiken-porter.com. And we would be happy to accommodate anybody.
You got a website, too. You got a super website.
Sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right.
And, yes, sir, we do.
All right. Now, Bill Cox wants to say something
Representative
to you,
Darby, you've always been a friend of TWRA, and I just want to let you know that we appreciate that.
Hey, the feeling's mutual, Mr. Bill, Mr. Wright. I appreciate what y'all have done. And, you always admire folks that get out there in that right lane and put their service hat on.
That's right.
And y'all have done that and done it well.
Thank you, Tandy. You have a great weekend. And I'm going to get Mr. Aiken to bring me up here, T-Bone, okay?
Yes,
He's
sir.
T-Bone
Yes,
and I'm
sir.
Little Bone. So we'll come up here together, okay? All right, Tandy.
Mr. Ray, I can't thank y'all enough.
All right, buddy. Have a great day, all right?
Yes, sir. You too.
All right, let's take a break on the Outdoors of Larry Ray, and we're going to talk commission here. Get ready for it. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, brought to you by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency. B&M Poles, and Ducks Unlimited.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. Every Saturday morning, 90 minutes, what we call the fastest 90 minutes in outdoor radio program. When we step in the Grizzly studio, Shelby McCall pushing all the buttons, and we roll in the guest. Guy Trebo here, LarryRay.com. Andy Tweed's over there, our wildlife officer, eating one of my wife's cookies. Hank Wright, Bill Cox, thank you guys for being here. We're going to talk a little time now with Hank and Bill, and throw Andy in there if we can. Not under the bus, but we'll throw him in there if we can. But let's talk, guys, a little bit, because I know, Hank, you represented District 9, Fayette, Hardeman, Haywood, Lauderdale, McNary, Shelby, and Tipton, which sounds like a lot of counties to represent. So to tell our listeners, Hank, about your thoughts, how you got into being a commissioner, and you served your term. What'd you learn?
Yeah, well, I learned that I didn't know very much. I had a 6-year governor appointment, and people asked me, how'd you get that appointment? And the honest truth is I'm not sure. I got a call from Governor Lee right after he took office.
Yeah.
And he asked me if I would serve, and said chronic wasting disease had been found in my district. And I had
welcome aboard.
veterinary training, and he just thought it'd be great to have a veterinarian on the commission, and my name had come across his desk, and I don't know exactly how, so I just said yes before I talked to my wife or anything.
So you've learned now. What did you learn in your time as a commissioner?
Yeah, I didn't know there were 750 employees. I didn't know that 740 of them were just some of the most wonderful people on earth that aren't in the work for fame and fortune. They're in it because they love it, and it's their life. And I met a lot of people, lifelong friends. I learned, we had biologists and veterinarians and PhDs and all sorts, the whole spectrum of talent supporting the agency, and I didn't know any of that. I didn't know that we did protection of endangered or threatened species. I didn't know we did all the research that we do,
But
and
you
managed
also,
all the property that we manage.
And then you realize they put your phone number in there too. I mean,
they do.
So
people don't abuse that, but it's certainly a thankless, payless job.
Well, you just said the word, payless. You guys, everybody thinks, well, the commission, all they get to do, they get to hunt and fish. That's what we think Andy Tweed, that's all he's done for 30-something years is hunt and fish. Well, he's hunt people and fish people out of the water, as he's done that many times. But Hank, the background as a veterinarian, and CWD did arrive about the time you came aboard. It's something that nowadays we still have it, but I think the job the TWRA did during that time frame, and we've talked about that many times, to keep the thumb on that disease. Talk about that from a veterinarian's point of view.
Yeah, so disease management on that scale is difficult, and there are a lot of moving parts, hunter participation, and management of the disease on the landscape. So it's a complicated issue. We had some really great experts come in to the state, Dr. Dan Grove, and
yes, he did.
Had worked with many other states, and so we had some history of what works and what didn't work. And it's a terrible disease to try to manage. It's not a bacteria or virus. It's a misfolded protein that's super persistent in the environment. We think about a lot of diseases that get in our meat that we consume, and that cooking will denature those or kill them, and it doesn't happen with CWD. It's
well, I'm going to throw in a word here for Jeremy Dennison. The young man has been a real he's come forward to us on this show many times as the CWD coordinator that he does in West Tennessee, and I just wanted to let you guys know that Jeremy's on top of it. But I did notice, Hank, before we get to Bill over there, because we're going to talk to both of y'all a little bit, when I was doing my studying, and I try to study on this thing, and I noticed you're a beekeeper.
I am.
Talk about that, buddy. I'm not. That's something I've always been close to. Well, I'm not really close to. I try to stay away from it. But I mean, is that something that you like?
It's been a lot of fun. It's less work than everybody thinks.
Oh, come on.
And
really?
just getting over. I have 4 hives, generally 3 to 4, and I spend maybe 15 minutes a week. Except during the winter, I don't really do much.
Yeah.
It's just not a lot of work, except harvest time's tough.
Harvest time is tough. Yeah.
But there's so much information on YouTube, and I had my partner in the veterinary business was a beekeeper, and he's just an expert at it, so I had a good mentor.
Well, everybody needs a satellite, and when I saw that, And of course, there's a movie called The Beekeeper. That you weren't in it, Hank. I just wanted to let you know that you weren't in that. But Bill, as you sit there, 3 terms. Did you get what you wanted, Bill? I mean, 3 terms. I mean,
no, I wanted a 4th.
You wanted a 4th.
So, no, Larry. I was listening to Hank talk about all the different aspects of TWRA, which I didn't know when I first got on, and it was a steep learning curve. And you know, I've had the honor to have two other terms, but you never stop learning what TWRA does.
That's right. Yeah.
There's always something that you discover that these men and women are doing that is just amazing. I mean, whether there's research on fish or non-game endangered species or deer, turkeys, bear, whatever it is, they're excellent biologists, and they've got more data than most states. I've had the honor or the opportunity to visit other states around us, several of them, and I've been to meetings with multi-state meeting with commissioners, and I've been to some international and meetings. Went to Nebraska, South Carolina, and I've listened and talked to people from other states. And about 10 years ago, before 10 years ago, you know, I thought Tennessee did a few things better than some of these other states, but overall, I thought Tennessee was the best. Now, I don't believe there's a state out there that does anything any better than Tennessee does.
There you go. Yeah.
From research to CWD to enforcement, whatever, boating, whatever it is, Tennessee is, as I said earlier, is the best of the best. I mean, it's a really fine outfit.
And you can look back 2001, Bill. Think what we've been through since 2001, 9/11, CWD, COVID, all these different things. When you first came on the commission in 2001, you represented the same area, I think, that Hank did, right?
That's right.
Yeah, and now you're what we call a statewide person. So talk about, and we're going to, the evolution of being a commissioner from 2001 to 2025.
Well, when you first get on the commission, you're pretty ignorant about
That's what Hank said.
About everything that's going on, and you learn a lot, you ask a lot of questions, talk to agency people to learn. You go and travel and see what they're doing, and if there's a project in East Tennessee, or if there's a WMA or something that's on the schedule, you try to go see it. And then my second time, it was I knew a lot of that, and I actually got a little frustrated because I knew some of the things that I felt like I needed to try to get done, and not that there's anything that we did that was wrong, but some of the things I thought I wanted to get done, I was unable to do, and that's my fault for not being convincing enough. But then this last time, we've got such a good group of commissioners. I believe it's the best group that I've been involved with, and we've made some good decisions, and we protected the resource, and we've had some great leadership. Jimmy Granberry's last year's chairman, and we've got an annual report now that's got lots of information about TWRA that we haven't had in the past. So it's kind of an evolution of being of learning, but you never stop learning what these guys do. I mean, it's pretty amazing what TWRA has out there, and I urge you to get on the website and just look.
I think Hank mentioned how many employees. Hank, did you mention what do we have? 700 and something employees.
About 750.
Yeah, and this is a billion-dollar organization with all these employees and things along that line. And I was looking at it, and I noticed this is an obligation both of you guys took. Bill, for 3 terms. Hank, you're just off yours. But your family has to be part of this too. And I know Paige, Hank, your wife. I know Cindy, Bill's wife. they have to sacrifice for some of this too, don't they, guys?
They really do. Paige was glad for me to roll off, but after my last meeting, we were driving back from Nashville, and she just said, "You really enjoyed this so much."
There you go.
And I said, it's one of life's great mysteries that it's thankless, it's payless.
Yeah.
It takes time away from your business, your family, your children, and yet it's really one of my life's undeserved privileges. It's a great way to give back, and so fun to serve people that care so much.
And Bill, I mean,
Yeah,
the first lady of the TWRA. Okay,
Cindy really enjoyed going to the meetings. We had 2-day meetings, and she, the first meeting day, we went to dinner the night before, and she'd kind of have a ladies' day and not do much, and then we'd, she might go to a meeting or we'd go to dinner or whatever. But she really enjoyed it, and she misses it almost as much as I do. And but and I've said it 100 times, but if you get the opportunity, if you love hunting and fishing, conservation, and you get to serve on a commission and be associated with people that do it for a living and the best in the world at it, what a great thing that is. And I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, we're going to get into this conversation. I will make notice that 2001, I don't think 2 of your kids were even born yet, Bill. I mean, come on, let's think about this.
No, they were.
Were they?
They were born. They
right,
were a lot
William's
younger.
23 now.
I will tell you this. My older son is 47.
47.
And I was 47.
Oh, I got you now. Okay, yeah.
I was 47 when I got on the commission.
All right, you're just a pup. You're just a pup like that. All right, let's take a break. Going to continue our conversation. Going to get Andy Tweed involved in this as we talk TWRA, and you folks know that. I've been through thick and thin with the TWRA for all these years, and I can't imagine a better organization than we got with the TWRA. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, brought to you by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, B&M Poles, and Ducks Unlimited.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. I don't know how many times I've said that over almost 25 years, and I've really been looking forward to this, to get 2 commissioners in the studio on one Saturday morning, and also have our own bodyguard with us. Comes fully equipped. I feel safe.
Good.
With you over there, Andy Tweed. But
I'm protecting these cookies right here.
You are protecting
Yes,
the cookies.
sir.
Well,
Yes, sir.
that guy's going to take the rest of them home. But I thought that the commissioners, with Hank Wright and Bill Cox, would feel more comfortable if they had some body support.
Had a little
here.
security.
Yeah,
Yes.
a little security.
Yeah.
So we've talked to Hank and Bill, and we talked about the role of the wildlife officer. And I've got to admit, and Andy's on 30 years or so, when he steps out in May, we're hoping that he'll become a regular. We get him on with us a lot because of his knowledge of this area. But guys over there, Andy was involved in a recent incident on what we still call, is it the new bridge or the old bridge? What's that one?
It's the new bridge.
It was the new bridge.
And the funny thing is, I remember them building the new bridge.
Well, that was 1977,
Yeah,
okay.
so.
But anyway, a lady went over on the Arkansas side, parked her car, and then guess who found her down there?
Well, it just happened that Jeff Peach and I decided that we have not run our boat since duck season, so it's been a month or so. So we're like, all right, let's get the patrol boats ready for the springtime upcoming and run our duck boats and get everything, ready to go.
Right.
And so we did our patrol boat stuff, got it loaded up, talked to our good commercial fisherman, Clay Young. He was coming in.
Yeah.
Long story short, we John boat in. We're going out to the river. Harbor Patrol calls me and says, we got a jumper. Where are y'all? I said, we're at the bridge. We're right here.
Yeah.
And so we looked and looked and looked and looked, and you could see the police cars up on the bridge. And so we finally we went back and forth. And I'm looking for somebody who's hit the water and they're floating downstream.
Right, yeah.
Nobody, nobody's there. So we ran all the way to the Arkansas bank, and there's a Crittenden County officer over there. He flags us down. He goes, hey, she's under the bridge in a log pile. I'm like, you're kidding. So anyway, we take off and run up. Sure enough, she jumped on the upstream side, and the current threw her into the log jam next to the river.
She was sitting
bridge,
on the log jam?
Sitting just like I'm sitting right now, sitting on a log, freezing to death. That water's 39 degrees.
That's right.
She was going in.
Hypotherapy would have been very quickly.
She was getting there pretty quick.
Yeah.
So we just drove right up there, and Jeff reached out, grabbed her in the boat, and then we took her about halfway across the river, and MPD was in their giant boat, which has got heaters and all that stuff. So we just handed her up to them and said, there you go.
So this is, Hank, Bill, you hear this story of what wildlife officers do. Most people think all they do is give out tickets and warning and spend a lot of time in the courts down there. When you hear this, Bill Cox, what do you think about it?
Well, it's as I said earlier that these officers do a lot more than just deer and turkeys and rabbits. I mean, they are teachers, and they're rescue boats and find lost souls out in the woods, and they are I'm gonna tell you, I've seen some videos of these men and women, and they're heroes. I'm telling you right now.
And I know, Andy, we talked off stage a little bit with you and Hank about how y'all met. I need to repeat that again for my listeners, Hank, because I want to get it straight now. Okay, Hank. I mean, you met Andy in what way, Hank?
It had to be his first year or two in service, so 31 or 2 years.
I can't imagine Andy's first year.
And we had a long wade out after an afternoon hunt on the Wolf River, and we had a long wade back, so it was just about pitch dark when we got back. And he just stepped out from behind a tree.
That's him.
Shocked us.
Yeah.
I don't know how he got there. He actually asked us for a ride back. Hey, can I ride back with y'all on your four-wheeler? But
I was parked a long way away.
You were parked a long way away.
That's how I met Andy, but we became friends. He was so professional and so nice to us, and asked us, just genuinely interested in our hunt experience and how we were doing.
And that's what our officers, particularly folks, if you deal, because I live in Germantown, Hank, you live in Germantown, Bill's in Collierville. We have 3 officers. We got Jeff Peach, we got Ray McMillan, we got you. And it's not easy to be a wildlife officer, Bill, in Shelby County, to be here. I mean, this man's been here forever.
Yeah, I'm
screw
sure
loose somewhere.
I'm sure Andy's got stories that he can tell. That
he's going to tell them when this gets over with. I can tell you.
I'm telling you, they do a wide range of activities. They really do.
And they represent the TWRA on a lot. You see them.
Well, they're on the front lines. I mean,
they
that's
are.
Who the public
the media
sees
goes to Andy or whatever it might be.
And Tweed, Andy could attest to this, but they have in-service training about customer relations and talking to people, and you can find somebody that's violated and you can write them a citation, and y'all can smile and shake hands, and you're just doing your job, or you can do it the other way and make an enemy. But these guys do a good job and make people understand what's going on and appreciate the resource, and whether they write them a ticket or not, they do it right.
Well, that's, we've always said, if you can't shake somebody's hand after you've issued them a citation, you have not done your job.
Yeah.
It's,
well,
we're in the people-pleasing business.
When you shake their hand, you have the warrant in their hand when you give it to them. I mean,
that's exactly right.
That's the part of it.
Yeah.
Again, visiting with Andy Tweed, stepping out after late May, after a career as a TWRA law enforcement officer in Shelby County here, and Hank Wright and Bill Cox. And, to do this, and everybody says this is a part of the job as a commissioner. Explain how you become a commissioner, Hank. How did you become a commissioner?
Well, it's a good question, and I'm not exactly sure.
Okay, that's probably better.
I don't usually answer phone calls if they're not in my contacts, but I got a phone call from a 615 number about 6 years ago.
Yeah?
And the caller said, "This is Bill Lee. Can I speak to Hank Wright?"
Come on.
And
it was the governor calling you himself?
Said, Bill Lee is in the governor? And he said, "That's right." And he had just been inaugurated, I guess, taken office. So he just told me at CWD had been chronic wasting disease found in West Tennessee, and said that your name came across my desk, and we think it'd be valuable to have somebody with veterinary training on the commission during this battle, and as we address this. And wanted to know if you'd serve. And
how long did it take you to say yes?
I went ahead and told him yes right
Right
then.
on the phone. Okay,
and
right there.
I thought, gosh, the governor's asking you to do something. But the resources and things that the agency does or something I knew were just near and dear to me and a way for me to give back. So I said yes and then went home and asked Paige for permission.
Okay, that's what I asked. Okay, Bill, explain how that became a commissioner from you.
Well, in my first term.
Yeah, we want the first term.
Yeah, the first term. Before I got to be a commissioner, the commission had changed the deer limits from 11 to 1 or 11 to 2. And
I think it was 2.
Most deer hunters outside the agency that didn't like it too much. And I had known and were friends with Governor Sundquist for a good long while, and his deputy governor, and I went to him and asked him to appoint me to the commission. I was interested in it coming up in a couple of years. And Wendell Moore was his deputy governor, and the minister officiated. One of the ministers in my wedding was Wendell Moore's daddy.
Oh, really?
So I had a relationship with them, and then so he appointed me. And in the second term, it's kind of who do you know. If you want to pursue it, you just talk to people, and I did pursue it. I mean, I wanted to do it. And I think they ran out of options, and they called me, and I did it. This last term was kind of the same way.
Yeah.
I had people call and talk to Kevin Johnson and the speaker, and I talked to them, and they, gladly honored me with that appointment, and I really appreciate it.
Well, I see that Hank said he went right to Paige first. Did you go to Cindy 3 times, or you just do it on your own?
No, that wasn't something I talked to Cindy about.
Okay.
I knew what I wanted to do, and I had already told her I was going to try to do it. But
you did, yeah.
But after the first term, she was all for it. She met a lot of the wives, and they really had a good relationship and had a good time shopping and that kind of thing.
It's a family thing, isn't it? You guys got to work together.
We've really, Hank and I have known each other for years and years, but we've gotten to be friends, and you do that with everybody on the commission. You get to know people and being around them.
Yeah.
And what a special gift that is to.
Yeah.
And I've served with a lot, so I've got more than most. But to have the people that I just served with to be my friends, that is very special.
And I know that both of you guys, your roots are in our county. Bill's roots for sure. All right, we got a couple of minutes. What do you think your dad would have said, Bill, about you serving this time?
My dad was still alive when I got appointed.
I figured he must have been.
He was still alive for a couple of years, and I think he was very proud that and was aware of what I was doing and why I was doing it. And I think he was very proud of that. And of course, he was friends with Don Sundquist, so I'm sure he called Don and talked to him about it. But he knew it, and I'm pretty sure he was, proud of me.
Well, I want to just closing there, recognize you two guys for your service, and us on Outdoors with Larry Ray. We couldn't have done it without the TWRA. And knowing, I live in Germantown. I'm in the Germantown ghetto. If you wonder where I am, Hank, I'm way back in the southwest corner. Some people forget about my 3 little streets sometime, but I know. When I know Collierville is so deeply rooted in Bill Cox's family, I see where they're going to cut down some trees, Bill. Get ready. I want to know what that's going to create, out there in the square. He's dodging that one. Okay.
You want to know now?
Yeah, I want to know
They're just old trees that have died. And just a side note, my great-grandfather planted some of those oldest trees.
Wow. Are you serious?
Right.
Okay. Well, I knew that. I haven't planted any trees, Hank. I got the oldest water oak in my neighborhood, and I keep thinking, don't fall down sometime. You don't do that. Thank you guys for being with us today, Hank, Bill. Appreciate you guys, what you've done, and I know all that back pay you've got the TWRA over the years, but thank you guys for your service.
Thank you, Larry.
All right, let's take a break on Outdoors with Larry Ray. We're going to Ames Plantation one more time. They may still be out there. I don't know. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, brought to you by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, B&M Poles, and Ducks Unlimited.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, and a good Saturday morning to you folks in Brownsville on 1520 AM, 95.3 FM, in Jackson, News Talk 101.5 FM. Of course, right here in Memphis every Saturday morning on 790 AM from 9 to 10:30. And then we got Andy Tweed, and I know, Andy, you're familiar with the Bird Dog National Championship.
Yes, sir.
And I know, Bill Cox, you're very familiar with this too.
I am. I've ridden several times.
What it means to this community in 126 years is pretty amazing. And we just got through with a record-breaking event. It started in 2023, and it finally ended in 2025, I think. I don't know if Matt Backus feels like that to me or not, but 55 dogs, a long time, and we've somehow coerced Matt into coming on with us this morning. And I know he's heard enough about dogs and seen enough of the rear ends of dogs and horses for a long time, Matt, but it's over. It's history. Give us your reflection on it, Matt. I know you are the director of whatever we want to call the University of Tennessee field office at Ames Plantation. From your perspective, it's over. We got a winner. And obviously this dog was the first one out of the chute. And I don't know if that's happened before. Maybe you can tell us it's happened before, but let me name it real quick before we get into that, because this is Aaron's Perfect Storm. How about it, Matt?
Yeah, I don't know if it's ever been done before, a dog to set the bar first morning, but we've had a few that set the bar pretty quick, and it makes a pretty good trial. But overall, I thought this trial went well. It's very smooth. I've got a bunch of good guys working for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody seemed to be pretty pleased. We dealt with the weather as it came, and
it did. You had some weather. It always has weather. What was it? One morning, 7 degrees.
7 degrees, yes,
and
sir.
then Saturday it was 77 degrees.
It was.
And you guys ran on Sunday for the first time.
We did.
That I can ever remember. But 55 dogs, 56, one scratched. Talk about the pace and how it went. I know you had like 10 dogs did the 3 hours. A lot of pickups and things along that line, but we really ran it smoothly, and it got down to the wire, and you had 3 new judges, which I think were great judges. The committee, whatever they did, selected these guys. So talk about the pace of trying to put this thing over, because you went into the 3rd week.
We did, and we understood that going into this trial, we were going to go into the 3rd week, but it was just a monster we were going to have to deal with. It took probably a day and a half, 2 days to get a routine.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was okay. Wake up, tend to the stock, field trial, eat supper, and go to bed.
Well, how was it like on the day after it ended? Did you go down to the steps again just to make sure it was over? I mean,
I did do that, but we actually started a amateur shooting dog championship on Tuesday. And
Are you serious?
This afternoon.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Oh my gosh.
No rest for the weary.
Huh? All right, Bill Cox got a question here.
Matt, why do you think, or how did you get 55 or 6 dogs this year?
Tell him.
And normally you have 25 or 30.
So last summer, the board relaxed the standards of qualification. Previously, it was 2 wins required to be eligible for nomination.
Yeah.
And we dropped that down to either 1 win or 2 places.
Yeah. I mean, you could have over 100. I mean, really.
Really, we could have. I think 80 were actually qualified.
Yeah. And you saw that, and then you just by X number of dogs not coming, you ended up with 56 and then 1 scratch. So you knew, when did you know you would have 56 dogs? How long did you have to prepare for that kind of entry?
We had about 2 weeks to get it all figured out.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
There were actually 4 dogs from out west that didn't come.
4 dogs.
So we could have been.
Mm-hmm. And you also had a German. What? You had a German?
2 German short hairs. Yes, sir.
First ever. Yeah. Right.
First ever. First time
And then, how about the bird walk, Matt? Were the folks, you had only 10 dogs do the 3 hours. And Bill and Andy, I don't know if y'all think the way I do. You try to do anything for 3 hours, these dogs are athletes.
Oh,
Bill.
yeah.
I mean, they're running full blast for 3 hours. And normally we're running an hour or a 2 hour test.
Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
Go ahead.
The 10 dogs is a little bit misleading because, Perfect Storm set the bar pretty high.
He did, yeah.
Early.
Yeah.
And these handlers aren't going to make these dogs run for 3 hours if they're not going to get it done. So
Yeah.
A lot of that was decision to pick up
Yeah.
because of performance. But
Yeah.
I heard somewhere last week that anywhere from 30 to 36 miles is what a dog would run in those 3 hours.
36 miles in those 3 hours.
Do you think you will review that policy with the board?
Oh yeah, we're gonna change that, aren't we, Matt? I mean,
Oh yeah. Our goal is to hit about 40 or 42
next year. Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's still, and I think that if I look back and I read your great caps, folks, if you go to AmesPlantation.org, they do a great job of running all the. Yeah, the what? What?
I said, ask him about tall timbers.
Yeah, we're coming to that.
Okay.
Tall Timbers. I got a new co-host now. He's doing good too. I'm gonna bring him back. He knows how to get
I
here.
didn't want you to go by that without asking.
No, we're going to talk with Matt about that a little bit today, but we've already got that on another show where we can spend a lot of time with Tall. But thank you, Bill. But I know that that these dogs are so conditioned for that. But to imagine, we had some. You never know what the weather's going to be, anything like that. The course, the bird action was good. I think we had good bird action, did we, Matt? I mean,
it was good. We had a little over 60 game contacts officially over the trial. So,
yeah.
It's kind of a not scientific, but how we kind of calculate it on the back of a napkin. Anything over 40 people are okay with. 50, they're kind of smiling, and any over 60, you've done something well.
You've done something well, and I'm assuming, of course, the owner of Aaron's Perfect Storm, which we call him Colt. That's his call name. They're not out there whistling for Aaron's Perfect Storm. They're calling him Colt. That's his call name.
Right.
With what a performance! And the owner is Brad Woody. Luke Eisenhart was the handler of that. All 3 hours. Right up to the end, still going strong. At least 7 fines. I'm not sure how many total on that, Matt. How many did he get? I know he had a back in there too, and some other thing.
Yeah, I think he had 7 fines, a couple backs, and a rabbit.
Yeah. So he set the storm, and I was really stunned that my man Frank Barton, first time ever at Ames Plantation, riding with the wagon man himself, Ken Blackman, and we all know Ken, and Terry Turlip. Who does Frank see on his first time ever at Ames? He sees the national champion.
Mm-hmm.
He's there for the first time, and that's like pitching a no-hitter in your first game, and to do that. But it takes a coordinated effort. How many volunteers does it take for this event?
Oh, I think it's probably up at almost 100.
Yeah.
Between everybody.
And the food, you have at Bryan Hall, you have the food, you have all the pomp and circumstances. And just to be on that stage at Ames Manor for that event. Now, Matt, you've been out there since 2012. You've seen all this. You're the director now, man. You're the head man now. It's still a really, to me, it's a goosebump event when they're all up on that porch, isn't it? I mean,
it sure is. It sure is. There's a bunch of history raining down on you, looking at you right there when you're looking at all the names on the trophies that have come and done it before, and knowing that you're going to be right there with them.
Well, I think you add a lot, Matt. Just keep growing that beard, Matt. By next year, you'll be down to the ground with that thing when you do it. But I've heard nothing but great reports on you, young man. I wished I could have been out there, but things didn't work out. Next year, you put me on one of those horses from Kroger, and I'll try to be out there with you. But tell me, I looked at this thing, Aaron's Perfect Storm. What a name. What a name. Guess what Irwin Perfect Storm Colt did last year? He didn't make it through 3 hours.
Really?
No.
Nope.
He didn't make it through 3 hours. And so the Wright storm on the first day is pretty amazing. So, folks, go to AmesPlantation.org. What's up for you guys now? Because Bill wants me to do this. We're going to get Matt talk about what Mr. Cox was talking about over there earlier.
Yeah, so our friends from down in Tallahassee are coming up. The 17th they start.
Okay, there it is,
We're going to
Bill.
do a major quail restoration starting on the afternoon course. But before that, Monday morning, the 10th, we're going to start burning on the morning course as much as we can, as much as the state will allow us. If you see smoke to the east, just keep driving.
Keep on driving, because that's and we want to get you back on, Matt, sometime in early April, maybe, to
Sure.
give us a report, because there's a lot of things going on in Ames. Not only that, but you've got a new WMA, right? I mean, you've got some stuff coming there. Don't you have something going on out there?
Yes, sir. There's going to be a new state forest right here
There
on
it
our
is.
eastern boundary.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
sir.
so many things going on. Matt Backus, thank you, buddy, for being with. Anybody got another question for Matt so you can go take a nap? Now, okay, it's early on Saturday morning. The man has been roughed, all right?
Yeah, I've got a question
All right,
about
Bill Cox.
the deer. What's your deer population? Have you still got hunters hunting? And I know you've got a high prevalence for CWD, but I just wonder how it's going.
Yeah, that's a great question. Previously we were QDM herd pretty tight,
Yeah,
and since CWD kind of hit us pretty hard, the dynamic has changed.
yeah.
We've got about 50 guys that hunt, but instead of the big trophy hunters, it's a dad bringing his son,
There you go.
or something like
That's
that.
good.
So we do still have quite a few hunters out.
What about turkey?
Oh, our turkey club's full. That's about
Yeah.
5 year wait list.
Yeah, he did that in a hurry, didn't he? He
Yeah.
mentioned that in a hurry.
And
didn't
we
he?
don't need anybody else.
Don't need anybody else. Hey, man, thank you, buddy. Again, appreciate all the hard work you've done, and we'll talk to you next month. Okay, man? All right?
That sounds great. Thank y'all.
All right, thank you. All right, Matt Backus, let's take a break. Be right back. We're heading to South Carolina. We're going to talk about Strike Team. Bill, you ever heard of Strike Team? Yeah, but you have. Yeah. It's rather outdoors now. We'll be right back on Outdoors with Larry Wright.